Um, well, it's not the video that I wanted to be making, but I was afraid I would have to make this video. Um, it's not gonna be about finding. I'm already getting teary-eyed, but it's not gonna be a video about money and finances. I have kind of always used my TikTok platform to be able to talk about what was going on in my life, and finding out today that America will no longer have TikTok literally in 48 hours. It's getting banned Sunday, January 19th. That um, I figured I would do what I always do, which is talk about how I feel here on the internet for people who care about me. So I figured that's what this video is going to, or this episode is going to be about. Um, oh my God. Oh my God. I should have wrote down notes. I'm just going to speak from the heart. I have no idea if this video is going to be 10 minutes or 2 hours, but today's January 16th, 2025, and I found out maybe like 5 hours ago that TikTok got banned in America and it's going to shut down very soon, like literally 2 days. And oh my God, I feel so, I'm, I'm devastated. I'm completely devastated. I, they've been bringing this up probably for like a year and a half now. And I always was rolling my eyes back when they first were introducing TikTok getting banned. And I just thought, oh, geez, this is like some fear mongering bullshit. Like, this is not going to, this isn't going to go anywhere. Like, this is so stupid. Like, they're really just going to ban an app. Like, really. And then they gave an official date. And I was like, uh-oh. And then it got to the Supreme Court last week, and I was like, oh no. And even last night, I was like, there's just no way. There's just no way. Like, how can the app be that bad compared to other things we see of, there's other Chinese commerce apps that sell things to Americans, and you say something near your phone and then you see an ad for it an hour later. Like, we're okay with all of that, but not whatever's going on TikTok. So I don't know, I just still had this glimmer of hope that it would work out in the end. And we found out today that the Supreme Court was like, yeah, get rid of it, we're done with it. So yeah. So I just wanted to be here and talk. I've always been someone who just needs to like talk it out and let it all out. So I know it's probably not the episode you guys want, but I mean, like 95% of you who are subscribed here found me through TikTok. So I think we're all kind of connected to it in that way, that I just kind of need this time. It's not even I want to use this time. I feel like I need to do this. I just need to talk to someone. And just kind of let my heart out about it. I'm so crushed, you have no idea. I know so many people are heartbroken over it, and I'm so crushed right now. I just need to let this out because I'm so heartbroken, and I really don't have anyone to talk to about that. I mean, I do, but I know you guys get it so much because you're part of my TikTok life. I figured I would start at the beginning of like my TikTok journey, and of course I'm getting emotional. But a lot of people don't know this because I haven't really ever talked about it that much. But I found TikTok at a very weird time of my life. And it was the summer of 2019, and I decided to no longer talk to my family. And I essentially cut everyone out. It was a whole ordeal at the time, and I think I made the right decision, and I don't necessarily regret it, but that was something going on at that time. And a couple months after I stopped talking to my family, I found TikTok. And I just said, well, why the hell not? Let me just give it a shot. And I've never really been into like the social media apps. Like, for example, I never downloaded Vine, and I never did Musically. But there's something about TikTok where I just was like, why don't I just give it a shot and see what happens? And it's actually funny. It's actually a funny story that the day I decided I was going to start doing Vine is the same day they then decided Vine was over and it was done. And I was like, wow, go fucking figure. That like the one day I decided to like, oh, maybe I'll sign up and give this a try. They 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 ended the app. And I was like 23 or 24 at the time. I feel like I actually would have been really good on the 6-second platform, because the videos were only 6 seconds long, which is insane to me. So a couple years later, and life was happening, and I think I kept hearing people talking about TikTok, or I don't know what happened, but I just was like, let me download it and give it a shot. I think what I love so much about content creating and TikTok in particular is that I love being creative. And I like what I loved so much about TikTok was I can have an idea. I could put an audio to it. I could put a text on it and it does well, which made me feel like I created something that was smart. Again, at that time in my life, I was 26 years old. It was the fall of 2019 when I started TikTok, which is insane when you think about how many years a lot of us have spent on the app. And so many people, I mean, I call the app my diary. My page literally is my diary. And I was just sharing so much of everything of my life. It kind of just became a distraction in my life because I really had nothing in my life at that time besides my job. And, you guys probably on TikTok today, you see I have all my side hustles. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm being interviewed, Dr. Phil show, blah, blah, blah. But, oh my God, 2019, I literally just had one job and nothing else. No relationships, no side hustles, no content creating, nothing. On top of no longer speaking to my family at that time. So it just became something where I was able to put myself into it. I was able to become creative. I was able to, I guess, distract myself from things I was going through in my life. And I'll never forget, it was like within my first month. I swear it was within my first month. Or it could have been within my first 3 months, but I swear it was sooner. I posted a video and it got almost 1 million views in 2 weeks. And 1 million views back in 2019 on TikTok was huge. Today, that could be kind of normal to just have a video kind of do well, get a million views. But 5 years ago, that was pretty fucking big news. When I saw that happen to me, which I never thought in my life I could have a viral video, and yet look at what has happened today. I was like, wow, oh my God, I should keep doing this. If that could happen kind of quick, I should see what happens if I just stick with it and I keep doing it. And that just kind of became the birth of my TikTok career. So the next chapter of my TikTok phase was my student loan story. For those who know, if you really have supported me for a while, you know the student loan story. And it was almost 3 years ago to the day. I think I posted it on February 2nd, 2022. So it's almost the 3-year anniversary. It's coming up very soon. And that, it's so interesting how I was making content just about anything in my life at that time. But the one thing I shied away from was my student loan story because I was so embarrassed about it. And I didn't want to be known on social media as someone who was in debt or struggling with money, because that's how we are in society. We only want to look like we're winning with money. We never want to look like we are struggling or have issues with money. I shared my student loan story 3 years ago, and literally the rest is history. And my page was never the same since. I mean, that was the thing that kind of skyrocketed me. I've tried to keep my TikTok life as hidden as possible, which kind of becomes hard when your videos are getting millions of views every week. But I really have tried to keep my TikTok life as hidden from my real life as possible. And it's not to say I'm embarrassed by it, but I always told myself if I was to tell people in my life, like my parents or whoever, that, that I was on TikTok, I feel like it was going to hold me back from what I could talk about or from what I could post. So I always felt like TikTok was my diary, and you don't want people in your life to know your diary. So my mindset always was, I'm just going to put this out there, and whoever in the world sees it, they see it. Which is why I never was concerned about being vulnerable or posting videos about me crying or talking about certain things, because I always was just like, TikTok just felt like that random secret diary where I just was like, whoever in the world this goes to, they see it. Hopefully they connected with it. They liked it. Yeah, most people in my life actually have no idea about my TikTok page. My parents have no idea, and it's insane. And also, the main reason for that was because I started to do OF 5 years ago. Shortly after I started doing TikTok, I joined OF. If you know what that is, it's a website that ends in the word fans. I knew I couldn't have one without the other. I knew I couldn't tell my parents that I'm on TikTok and possibly have them see my page, and also that I would have my OF on there as well. And so I just kind of kept it a secret from everyone. There's a few friends in my life who know I'm on there, and they know I do that. But yeah, fun fact. So my student loan debt story happened, and it changed my life. I couldn't believe it was happening to me. And what's so crazy is that I thought no one would care when I posted it, because I knew, 44 million people have student loan debt, and a lot of people struggle with money in general. So I said, well, what makes my story so special? What makes me different from anyone else that, if I post my student loan story, I don't think anyone's really going to care. I truly, genuinely thought it would get a couple thousand views and we would just move on. And in, I think, 2 days, it got 500,000 views. And then to this day, it's gotten over 3 million views. And, people were sharing my video. I was being interviewed. I had articles written about it. I mean, it was a time in my life that I couldn't believe was happening to me. All in the meanwhile, I'm juggling my normal daily life of going to work at my one job. And all of this was happening behind the scenes, and my life was slowly changing. And again, it was sharing the student loan story where I started to see what could happen if I just kept up with making content. So I would say it probably was really around the student loan story time is where I got very serious. And I was like, I always kind of took TikTok seriously. Yes, it was fun, but there was always something in the back of my brain that said, what could happen if you just keep it up? What could happen if you just keep posting? What could happen if you stay dedicated to it? And look at what I've been able to build today, even though now it's all gone, which is devastating to me. And even compensation. I only have been making money off of TikTok for 10 months, but I've been on there for 5.25 years. So even back then I was like, if I just keep this up, if I just keep at it, if I keep pushing, if I stay disciplined and I post videos every day, like, what could happen? And I just want to say this too, before I forget it, but I think what made TikTok so special is that anyone had the opportunity to become someone. It's a lip balm break. I don't know if you guys like the lip balm breaks. I took a hotline shift. Guess who's getting a hotline call? Talk to you guys later. Hi, it's Bradley. Okay, I'm back. So what I was saying was, like, TikTok gave anyone the opportunity to become someone or, like, build something. And I think that's what was so enticing to people for the app, because people were seeing random people were just going viral, and like random stupid videos were just going viral, that I think everyone got really excited that it gave them this chance. And it's the chance that I always wanted, because I know I've shared this a lot in my past videos. I've shared this before and I've talked about it on my TikTok lives, but I've always talked about how like I wanted internet fame. I don't know, fame is like such a big word, but you know what I mean? Like I've always wanted to be internet famous. I've always wanted something. And when YouTube came out when I was in high school and I was starting to see these random people had the chance of building something and becoming someone, and there was no longer just like the celebrity. Like you didn't have to be like an actor or a singer. You could just be a person and you could become someone. And I was so infatuated with that in high school. And I just never thought in my wildest dreams it could ever be me. So then I think we all saw TikTok and we just saw like anyone had a chance. And I was like, well, let me see. Let me do this and like be myself and just post about my life and things that I find funny, and let's see what happens. And now look at what happened. It's insane. I never thought it could. Anyways, but last year, 2024, is when like my page got into high gear. And on the first day of 2024, I posted what we now call, which we now will no longer call, which breaks my heart, is the frugal freakouts. So that's when I would sit in my car and just scream at people of how stupid they're being with their money. And it got like 700,000 views in like 3 or 4 days. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I think people need this. Like, I think people need this message. And that was the birth of like my frugal content. It's so crazy. I was posting on TikTok for almost 4 years at that point and never really made frugal specific content. I was starting to sprinkle like budget stuff. Like I was doing my monthly budgets around the end of 2023, but it was 2024 where that frugal freak out, I was like, wow. The beginning of 2024 last year, where I was like, maybe I should start to walk away from just talking about student loan debt, because my student loan story put me in such a box, which I created myself, that I felt like it was all I could talk about. I felt like if that's my thing, if that's the story that went viral, if that's what articles wrote stories about me, that must be my thing, and that's the only thing I could talk about. So I really kept myself stuck in a box. And then when I posted my first frugal freakout at the beginning of 2024 last year, I was like, oh, maybe this is who I am for social media. Like maybe this is my niche, is to tell people you'd be in such a better place if you would stop being such a fucking idiot with your money. And if you would learn how to be responsible and develop discipline and blah, blah, blah. You guys know the whole story. And that one decision completely changed my life. And like, it's so crazy. It's so crazy when I look at my content from just a year ago, from early 2024 to even the end of 2024. At the beginning of last year, my videos were averaging probably like 5,000 to 7,000 views, which would be like an average good video. Were you guys watching my content at the end of 2024? I mean, my videos were getting like 1 million views minimum. Sometimes in a day. Sometimes in a day. In a 24-hour period from when I posted the video, some of my videos would get 1 million views in 24 hours. It was nuts. And I couldn't believe it was happening to me. Really. It's crazy how at the end of August 2024, I hit 250,000 followers. And then it's now mid-January 2025, and I'm a few thousand followers away from 700,000 followers. So, I mean, in the past 4 months, I have gotten over 400,000 followers. And I think that is what oh my God. So this is going to be the part of like TikTok coming to an end and my heart being fucking shattered. There's so much to say. And I'm probably not going to say half of it because I'm in such like a weird, it doesn't even feel real to me. And maybe we'll talk about that too if I can remember. But like what hurts so much is that I put 5 years of dedication and work into my page, And they're literally banning the app when I'm at my peak. I'm literally right now at my peak. I mean, what I did in December, just last month, my content got over almost 100 million views. What the fuck? What? I couldn't believe it. And even if TikTok was staying, I know that'll never happen to me again. I don't know if it's because the holidays and people had time off from work, so they were watching TikToks more. I don't know what was in the water, but I got almost 100 million views in December alone. It was insane. And I will never forget it. And with that, with getting so many views, I don't really want to talk about the money piece too much, but I'll put a clip on the screen here to prove to you I'm not making it up. Last month, December 2024, I made almost $9,000 on TikTok in a month. In a month. I can't even believe I could make $1 on social media. If you talked to Bradley from 15 years ago in high school, who was so infatuated with YouTube and content creators and internet fame, and if you told Bradley from 15 years ago, oh yeah, you'll be popular on TikTok and you'll make almost $9,000 in a month, and you'll be on Dr. Phil, and you'll have videos get millions of views in a couple days. I mean, I cannot believe this all happened to me. But this is the part that completely shatters my heart. That it's like, I wanted this more than anything. I put my whole life into this. And I never want to be that content creator or influencer, even though I never will call myself that. I always would call myself a content creator because I always just see influencer as like a negative, like, idiot. You know, like an influencer is just someone trying to convince you to blow your money on stupid shit. So I don't know. I call myself more of a content creator, but like I never want to be the type of content creator who's like, oh my God, it's so hard what I do. Like that Michaela girl, the makeup girl, like she got so much like hate 2 years ago because she was like, try being an influencer for a day. So I would never say it's hard, but it takes a lot of work. And like, I still don't know if I would agree with Michaela, the makeup girl, to like be like, try being an influencer for a day because it's hard. But it's like now that I've become what I've become and I put all that work into it, like I almost kind of get it. And like, but however, she's a full-time content creator where I'm like content creator. I do the crisis hotline. Like the fact I'm on call right now while filming this, like I have a part-time job as a financial coach. I help my parents when they need help with things, you know, all my side hustles. Like it never stops for me. It never stops for me. I'm always going. I'm always in something. And so I was editing content on my lunch break. I would literally bring my headphones to work and I would do my voiceovers in my car sometimes. I'd be editing video clips on my lunch break. When I would go on trips, like if you guys were with me a couple months ago when I went to London, I was filming clips every day, and then at night I was editing the clips, and then before I went to bed, I would post it. Even when I went on my cruise, I was making videos and I was making content every day of the cruise. So during my time on the trip, and it's like, guys, again, I'm not sitting here being like, oh my God, it's so hard to do what I do, but like, the types of videos I do, it doesn't happen in 10 minutes. Like any voiceover you ever watched of me on TikTok, that took a minimum of an hour. A minimum an hour. And sometimes it would be like an hour and a half plus. Like they did take time. Like people just don't know the work I put into this and the heart that I put into this. Because I feel like so many people are going to be like, Bradley, you're 32 years old. Move the fuck on. It's an app. Like, who cares? But it's like, first of all, I poured 5 years of my life into this. And there's 5 years of memories into this app. And not for nothing, the app became huge during the pandemic. And I feel like it just became a comfort for all of us that we had this one thing where we can kind of escape reality, or we could connect with other people, or we could learn something while we were all going through that time. So like, let's not forget that. Like, TikTok played a massive part in that time of our lives for it to now go away. So there was so much of all of our lives documented into this app, whether you were a creator or you were just scrolling and watching and enjoying the content. It's so heartbreaking for me to have watched my dream come true. And now it's just like, just goodbye. That's it. See ya. So nice you had a great time. Bye. Although I am trying to remind myself, like Bradley, because I always tend to fall towards the negative mindset, and I put in a lot of work to try to be positive and think positive. I'm trying to remind myself, Bradley, at least it happened. None of this was guaranteed. None of this had to happen. Your student loan story never had to go viral. You never could have been on the Dr. Phil show. So I struggle with like reminding myself, it's kind of the quote, don't be sad, don't cry that it's over, smile that it happened. But it's going to take me a long time to get there because I am grieving right now. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, and again, this connects to a lot of when I started my TikTok, like I explained how I feel like I live a pretty lonely life. And to be completely honest, I actually feel like my life is kind of boring. And TikTok just filled so many empty pieces of my life. And I know that could sound unhealthy to say, but it's just the truth. Like, the fact that I can feel lonely, or the fact that I could just be bored and I could flip onto my TikTok app and go live and then be talking to hundreds of you. Like, that was so good for me. And when I cut my family out of my life in 2019 and I stopped talking to them, and of course I didn't have nearly as many supporters, and I didn't even have the bond or connection with people who were following me 5 years ago like I do with you guys today. But it was just this feeling of like there's someone there, and I'm not in this alone. I do have a group of people who at that time, were watching my content and found it funny or whatever. But like that, the app has just been so good for me in terms of my mental health, which I know there's so many discussions of how TikTok and social media is the negative for a lot of people. So I want to acknowledge that, but it's like, I'm honestly terrified of the negative effects that's going to happen losing it. And like, I know you guys are here, and I know people are following me on my Instagram. My Instagram went from like 32,000 followers to like about 45,000 in like a week, which is kind of crazy. But I hate Instagram, guys. Fuck Instagram. I'm so over it. Like, no one gets it over there. I have to explain everything again, because like even the haters on my TikTok page, they were probably like, oh, look at this mentally ill freak. Okay, I'm going to swipe to the next video. Like, everyone I feel like on TikTok just knew I was that frugal guy, and you either liked it, you hated it, or found it useful, whatever. But it's like, I feel like now I need to do it all over again on Instagram. And like, I'm going to have to go through it all over again where people are like, oh my God, like, why is he frugal? I just don't think I have it in me to do this again. And I don't mean this for the podcast. Like, I've actually really been enjoying the podcast, and especially if TikTok is going away, the least I could do is film for an hour, edit for an hour, upload it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to continue doing the podcast, so don't you guys worry. But like, I saw so many people being like, go to Red Note, go to Red Note, go to Red Note, go to Red Note, go to Red Note. I can't, I don't have it in me to do this again. I don't have it in me to build this all up again. And it breaks my heart to say that, because I worked so hard for this, and I wanted this more than anything. I promise you, if you think there's a content creator who wanted this bad, no, I promise you no one wanted it more bad than I do. And, just from the dreams that I had as a kid in high school watching YouTubers, and wanting to become someone, when for most of my life I felt like a loser and I felt like I was no one. And I felt like that's always what my life was going to be. And now I did it. I wanted this more bad than you would ever know. So it breaks my heart to feel like I'm kind of giving up on it. But if these are the cards that are dealt, like I just can't do it all over again. And the thing about Instagram, like you guys would probably be really surprised if you went to my Instagram. I'll put it on the screen so you guys, if you want to go find me, or I'll put it in the bio or the description of this video. So you guys could have a link to go if you really want to. But I'm trying to get my lip balm open again. Sorry. I'm talking a lot. The thing people would be shocked to see almost none of my TikTok content made it onto my Instagram page. I just started posting the past like 2 or 3 days because I'm like, oh shit, I have to move. I have to find a new house. Basically, we've all been evicted. Everyone in America just got evicted from TikTok and we have no idea where to fucking go. That's what's basically going on right now. And like all content creators are running around clueless. We have no idea like what's the next best app? What should we be doing? What's the best way to handle this? But you could go to my Instagram and you could see like none of my content made it to my Instagram. And for one, it's just because I find Instagram to be just very shallow and artificial. It just doesn't feel real. Like there was something about TikTok that felt so safe and comforting. And it's like, even if Red Note is the next hot thing and people run to it, I just don't feel like we're going to have, I hate to say it, I just don't think we're ever going to have what we had. And that breaks my heart. On top of everything else that's breaking my heart about losing the app, because there was just something about it, like the nostalgia. Like I've been seeing people posting videos of like, this was the first audio that they had saved. And you hear the audio and you're like, oh my God, I remember that 5 years ago when I was on TikTok or during the pandemic or whatever. And it's like, it's ripping my heart to shreds. This is not good for me. Like, I'm really struggling. Like, I feel like my world is crumbling and I am struggling to handle it. I feel like I'm struggling to handle this, where I'm sure any other 32-year-old adult would be like, all right, it's an app. Well, I'm going to just move on with my life. Although not for nothing, I do want to talk about maybe the money piece a little bit, because that hurts. Again, financially, I'm going to be okay. This is why, and this is probably what my video is going to be next week. But this is so why you have to stop being an idiot with your money, and you need to start getting responsible and taking your money seriously and saving your money and living frugal. Because look what happened. So my OF is connected to my TikTok page, and I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just trying to paint a picture that between my TikTok income and what I made on OF last month, it was about $14,000 in a month. In a month. Mind you, 10 years ago in the pastry arts field, it would take me 6 months of work or 7 months of work. I was making like $1,800 a month, so I don't know what the math is. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah. It would take 7 months of work 10 years ago. And I made that in a month on 2 platforms. And I mean, the financial blow of this, oh my God. And I mentioned this briefly. And again, I don't expect anyone to feel bad for me. This isn't for people to feel bad for me. I've got over $300K in the bank account, and I have income coming in different ways that I'm okay. I'm okay. This is why I live this way. I'm prepared for the worst. I'm prepared if anything was to happen tomorrow. I'm good. This is why I do it. And this is why I tell you to do it, because nothing's ever guaranteed, which is going to be insight to what next week's episode is whenever I post it. For someone who has a bad relationship with money, oh my God, are you kidding me? To know if this app was to stay, I'd be making thousands of dollars a month, and now it's gone. And it's over. And again, of course, it's happening at my peak when I'm making this crazy money. I've just been like, okay, it could possibly go away. This is going to really hurt me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose everything I ever built. I'm going to start to lose money because I'm not making content. I mean, it's been a bad couple weeks for me. And it's like I'm just going through life while in the background it feels like it's falling apart. And I hate that feeling. Like, I'm sure we've all been there after a bad breakup or something bad in life happens and you have to just keep going to work. You know what I mean? You keep going to work and you put a smile on your face, even though on the inside you're like dying. That is what the past 2 weeks has felt like. And it's probably going to feel like that for a while. Like, I don't know my life without TikTok at this point. And I know people will probably say it's unhealthy, but it's like, it's just become such a daily routine. You know, like on Saturday or Sunday, I would sit down and I'd say, well, what are the videos I want to post this week? When am I going to post them? When can I film this? When will I be able to edit this? Like, I poured so much of my fucking life into this. And it's just become such part of my daily life. And you guys have become such part of my daily life on there. I mean, it's like, imagine doing something again and again and again for years. And then all of a sudden it's just like, boop, gone. See ya. Over. Like, I keep telling myself, it's like, I wish they could, if they want to ban it, fucking ban it. But like, ban it like the last day of this year. You know what I mean? Like, say December 31st, 2025, when it strikes midnight and it's the new year, 2026, it's gone. It's over. Like, have you guys ever felt that feeling before where it's like a relationship ended and even though it was bad, like you just wish you had one more day with them or you wish you like enjoyed it? I don't know how to explain that, and it's probably unhealthy, but it's like I just wish I had more time. I have sat back a ton of times and been like, wow, this is happening to me. This is so fun. This is so cool. This is what I dreamed of. I can't believe this is happening. But I always will want more time. And I will say that too. It's like, it feels like a very weird time to be losing the app because there's the switch of presidency in America, that we lose the app on the 19th and then we're going to have a new president on the 20th, where I really thought the Supreme Court was going to say like, all right, listen, if we're about to have a new president in like less than a week, why don't we just push it and we could see how that new administration would want to handle the ban. Like, I'm hearing about people wanting to buy the app. I'm hearing about seeing what could be done. Like, it's still, even though the Supreme Court literally said we're going through with it and it's going to be banned on Sunday, first of all, I think that app is still going to stay up. I think we could still use it. It's just going to slowly start to break down and phase out, but maybe not. They're saying you could go on Sunday and it's going to be, you're going to get a message that it's over. Also, if anyone knows, I need to figure out how to download all my shit. I mean, my content is iconic. Like, I hate to be that person, but like when I think about it, no one was doing what I was doing. I may be wrong because there's millions of, content creators on TikTok, but when I think about it, I don't feel like there was anyone doing what I was doing. I don't think there was anyone who was like diving so deep into living frugal and showing ways to save money than me. And like, I'm going to want to show like the future generations my fucking content one day when they're like doing whatever with content and platforms. So I need to find a way to save all of it. I want to save all of it. Literally, like my 5th video on TikTok from 5 years ago is me being like, hey, I'm Bradley. I just joined this app and I have no idea what's going on, but I hope I do well. And it's like, oh my God, you did well. You did it. You made it happen. Oh my God, I'm so fucking devastated. I'm so fucking heartbroken over this. And it's like the money piece is going to be very hard to work through. Because again, even though I'm financially stable and I'm going to be okay, it's like how my brain works is going to be like, oh, you made $3,000 this month. That's good. Oh, but if you still had TikTok, you would have made $9,000 this month. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to take me a long time to like grieve this loss and move on. And especially when it's happening when I was performing so well. Even in November, I made like over $5,000 on TikTok. And then December, I made almost $9,000. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. God, I'm so heartbroken. Oh my God, this is so bad, guys. Anyways, but like I think about smaller creators who might still be able to make money through like a business that they have. I know I'm sitting here feeling this grief, but I feel like I'm feeling it with millions of other people in America who post on TikTok who are feeling this too. I mean, the ripple effects of this is going to be insane. And I'm almost shocked that America doesn't want to, not America, like the Supreme Court doesn't want to try to make it work with how much this like impacts our economy. You know what I mean? How like, okay, it's a Chinese app, but I'm an American who made $9,000 last month off a Chinese app. Like, wouldn't we want this? Wouldn't we want to bring money into the country and for small businesses to thrive and people paying taxes on? I don't know. I'm not an economist, but I just would imagine we would want to try to find a way to make it work. The economic blow is going to be insane. Really bad. I think the other brand deal is going to walk away and they were going to offer me $4,000. And again, I couldn't even believe someone like me was offered $4,000 to make one video. I'm literally going to take a screenshot of that like conversation and like put it in a picture frame to show like, okay, I didn't get the money. It didn't happen. But like, oh my God, you did that, Bradley. Like, you never thought you could be that person and you fucking did it. I'm probably going to put it in a picture frame. I'm like, nothing's coming out, but all I want to do is cry. I'm like, so probably in a week when it's like done, I'm just going to like sob. But I want to take a screenshot of my TikTok profile. Could take like the photo and turn it into like a picture, like a painting or whatever. So I want to get like a square of the screenshot. And I just wanted to say my TikTok username, the amount of followers, and welcome to my frugal life. Show I got like 31 million likes on my content. Like, I'm just so proud of this. I'm so proud of this. And I'm glad this just popped in my head because I almost forgot to say it. It's like, I think why this is so sad to me and why this is so heartbreaking is like, I've never really been good at something in my life. I just never felt like I was ever more than just average. Like, I was playing tennis since middle school. And like, I was an okay player, but I was never great. I've been playing the violin since 4th grade. And like, yeah, I know how to play the violin and I play all right, but I was never like excellent at it. And I just felt like anything I ever did in my life was just so like, you're okay, but you're not great. And TikTok and content creating and creating an idea in my head and posting it and it does well, and being able to like narrate a story and being able to motivate people and educate people. Like, TikTok became the thing I was great at. Because in my opinion, you can only go so far on building a page by just being okay. Like, it took hard work. It took my personality. It took my mindset. It took my dedication. It took everything to build this. And I think that's what is like so heartbreaking, is like, this is the one thing I felt like I was actually so good at. And it's over. It's done. It's taken away. Everything I worked hard for, gone. And I know people say you can move to the other platforms. It's never going to be what this was, what TikTok was. And I just know that, unfortunately. And it's like, thinking about my Instagram, I don't even know if I want to post personal content on my Instagram. Like, I just don't even know what I'm going to do. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I might honestly post more of my reels or my videos on here. Because again, my YouTube page is a clean slate. No one in my life knows about it. Where Instagram, I have like family friends on there. I have like old coworkers on there. I should have just made a separate Bradley on a Budget Instagram page, but I didn't. Of course not, because I hate Instagram and I wasn't thinking. So, yeah, like, even moving forward, if I'm going to still make content, it's probably not going to be what it used to be, because I was putting it all out there on TikTok and I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck. But it's like now that there's going to be like personal people in my life and family friends. And what if this family friend sees the video and they tell my mom, and I don't want my mom to know, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I don't think it's ever going to be the same, which is why I still tell myself, like, I don't know if I'm just kind of like done, which is so sad because I worked so hard for this and this is all I ever wanted. And just due to the circumstances, I'm like, I guess that's it. I don't really know. Something else that is going to be really hard for me to walk away from is just the fact of like, I feel like, and I know this might be unhealthy to say, I feel like I keep saying that throughout this video, so maybe I'm showing signs of something, but whatever. I don't know. It's my life and I'm happy to live this way or whatever, but it's like I feel like on top of what I was saying, how TikTok felt like the one thing that I was good at, or it felt like a talent, and it felt like the thoughts I put in my head that I then created on a phone and then posted and they would do well, like how that made me feel like I was good at this and I was finally good at something. And it's like, I just think in general, like my TikTok platform and my page that I built, it made me feel like I was someone. And, you know, never to be the person to be like, oh, I'm so much better than you and like me. But it just like, it gave me this confidence that I cannot even begin to tell you. And I mean, I've talked about it too on my lives where I feel like my financial stability also helped me build a lot of confidence, because when you have money, I feel like you don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks about you. So, but my TikTok page and what I've built and building this brand of myself and people knowing me and getting interviewed and getting brand deals, like, and having videos get millions of views, like it made me feel special. And I think that is like the piece to all of this, is that in most of my life, I've just never felt special. I've been a sad person for most of my life, from what I saw in my childhood to then ending up in my 6 figures of student loan debt before I was 21 years old. Like, I just haven't really lived a happy life. And that's just the truth. And that's not to say like every fucking day of my life was miserable and awful, but it's just like when I look at the whole picture, it's like I just been through shit. Things have been tough. And I haven't been happy through most of that, because how can you? How can you be happy to be 22 years old, drowning in debt, making $13 an hour, having a back injury from your job? You have issues going on at home with your family. You have relationships that aren't working out. I mean, I was so unhappy for so long. And like TikTok made me happy. It made me feel alive. It made me, all my dreams came true. I was making money. I was getting recognized in public. I had videos going viral. I had articles written about me. What the fuck? I'm just this guy. Who lives in this small apartment, who likes to make content about how you could win with money. I'm just this guy from a small town in Connecticut. You know what I mean? It's like, but I built this huge thing all on my own. And like, it just made me feel like I was someone. It made me feel like I was special. And I think that is one of like a million things that is going to really hurt by losing this. To be completely honest, it's so sad to say, but I'm telling you the truth, that I feel like I'm losing something that made me feel so special. And I feel like I'm just going to fade back into my normal life that I had before TikTok, where I'm just working. And that's it. Like, and it's something I struggle with so much too, because it's like, I don't know, at this point, I don't know a life without sharing it with people, with you guys, with strangers on the internet, anyone. And again, people could say, well, you could do that here on YouTube. You could do that on Instagram. Like, you don't have to stop. But it's like, that's another thing too. And I don't want you guys to feel like I don't care about you or I don't care about this. But it's like, do you remember earlier I was saying how much work this all took? the money was a huge push. Like, I was so willing to stay up until 11 p.m. at night editing content. If I wasn't at work, if I wasn't socializing, if I wasn't doing a side hustle, if I wasn't helping my parents, I was working on content. Or if I wasn't physically working on the content, I was thinking of what I can do. I mean, it never stopped. But the money was such a big motivator for me. And again, when I started making money in February of last year, I don't even remember how much I made in my first month. It was maybe like a couple $100 maybe. And I was so proud of that. And I was like, whoa, if I keep this up, this is great. Because that's my small-minded brain with money sometimes, that even $20 to me feels like 100. It's this weird thing. I don't know how to explain it. But even seeing, I was just making a couple $100 a month for my content that I love to do, that I love to make. It was my motivator. And now look, I went from a couple $100 a month to a couple $1,000 a month. And even though it was so much work, it took so much time, I was juggling so much in my life, it was the incentive to keep me working hard and to keep me going and to keep pushing me and to stay up late. Sometimes I'd be so focused on making content, I would forget to eat. Because I was so just like, okay, I want to post this by this time today. Let's get this done. And then when we finish that, I have to get started on tomorrow's video, because it never stopped. And the money was a huge motivator. So what I'm trying to say is, any platform I move to, I'm not going to be making that money. And my brain after go for so many months doing this, my brain is like, I can't keep doing this for nothing. You know, I don't even know how to make money on Instagram. I've researched their like creator fund. I don't know how it works. It says you have to get invited to it. Like for TikTok, you were just able to apply, and if they accepted you, they accepted you. And like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's like, and please don't take it the wrong way, but it's like, without the money as my incentive, I just don't feel like I could keep pushing myself at this capacity that I've been at. Which then kind of goes into the conversation of, you guys, if you really know my content, you'd remember in July of last year, I posted a $1 breakfast video. It was the breakfast that I eat every day, because I kind of have OCD. And it was the breakfast that I kind of just developed as a frugal person, and how I make my breakfast every morning. And I think in total it costs like 86 cents. So I posted my $1 breakfast video, and I swear, I think that was the end of July of last year. I swear that was the video that launched my frugal life. It was in that moment where I was like, oh, I think people like this. People seem to be fascinated by how I, as a frugal person who was in a lot of debt and not making a lot of money a lot of years ago, I think people are fascinated to see how I lived to save money and how to be smart with my money. And literally ever since at the end of July, I have not stopped. It has been go. And again, I did it out of love, and I love the passion of being creative and thinking of ideas and educating you guys and motivating you guys. But there also was the incentive of the money behind it. And when I tell people, I just don't know if I can do this all again, I don't think I can accept working at this capacity to do it all again, to build myself up again while making no money. And I guess sometimes that's the sad conversation about money, where like once your joy gets wrapped up in money, or the craft that you love to do turns into making money, you kind of start to lose the love for it, because you're more focused on the incentive. You're more focused on the money piece. I hope you guys would understand that. I think anyone who is in my position, where you were just last month, less than 30 days ago, you were making thousands of dollars from your content, and now it's going to go away and you're going to be expected to keep it up for nothing. No one would ever do that. And I know I tell myself I can keep pushing myself and I could try to keep doing this and I could try to build up again, that maybe by the end of this year, I could start incentivizing it and making money. That could happen, but it may not happen. And I think what I may do, and again, this doesn't include the podcast because I'm going to really stick to doing a video a week. Especially if TikTok goes away, I have more than enough time to do a video a week. A podcast episode, I mean. But if I'm being honest with myself, I may just take a little break. I have never allowed myself to take a break during my TikTok era because it felt like social media S word to not post. Like, that's the number one rule as a content creator. You must post. So literally, like, every day last year, no matter what, no matter if I was sick, no matter if I was juggling a bunch of work and side hustles, if I was dealing with emotional issues, the show must go on. You must post. You must then start editing the next post. Doesn't matter if you're away on a trip. It doesn't matter. You must post. And it was starting to catch up to me, and I didn't want to say anything, and I didn't want to accept that because I wanted this so bad. This was all I wanted, and this makes me so happy, and you guys make me happy, and watching my content do well made me happy, and watching the money it was making made me happy. But if I was being so honest with myself, I was starting to run at full capacity, and it became a lot. It became a lot. You know, even, I know this is, I don't know why I share every little fucking detail, but even at orchestra practice, I play in an orchestra. And if we're in the middle of a song, but it's 7:50 p.m., I literally would put my violin down and I would like go to the bathroom and upload my video. I mean, my life stopped for this app. My life would stop for content creating. You know, even on Christmas Day, just last month, I told myself, it's Christmas, you're with family, take the day off, enjoy it, relax. And then by 9 a.m., I started to film content because I love it. Like, I'm addicted to sharing my life with you guys. It was like this never ending cycle. And I kind of felt like on my way home today to my apartment after hearing the news about the TikTok ban, it's like in a weird way, it's like I almost felt like a little sigh of relief. And it's because I feel like I got so caught up in this wheel of like, you're in it and you wanted this so bad and you feel so connected to your supporters and it's making you a lot of money and that I got caught on this wheel that I knew I was never going to get out. I'm getting so real with you guys. I hope you guys stay till the end because I feel like after talking for so long, it's all finally coming up now. And this is why I wanted to make this video because I just wanted to talk about this. I haven't really ever talked about this. Everyone's like, oh, just go to another app and do it all again. It's like, I want to, but I don't know if I can. Which breaks my heart because I wanted this so fucking bad and I did it. I think that might be it. I think I just poured it all out. I think I said everything I wanted to say. No matter what, I'm so devastated that it's over. And like, believe me when I say, if the ban wasn't even a thing and we were still going on with our normal day as usual, I feel like all those things I just said, I wouldn't really care. Because at the end of the day, this has been so fun for me. This has been the funnest time of my life. I have been able to do things that I never thought in my wildest dreams I can do. I never thought I would end up on the Dr. Phil show or TV in general. I was on the NBC National Evening News for talking about student loan debt, but it was like a 10-second clip. But still, that was my first time making it to TV from TikTok. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I thought that was my peak. And then 5 or 6 months later was the Dr. Phil show. And I was like, okay, this is it. Like, it doesn't get bigger than this. Or getting recognized in public. Like I always thought that was the coolest piece to all of this. The money, the brand deals, videos going viral, whatever. But I always thought getting recognized in public is the number one sign of like you made it. The first time it happened to me was probably like 3.5 years ago. And I was like, whoa. I think it was like shortly after the student loan story went viral and I had around 100,000 followers. I got recognized in public and I couldn't fucking believe it. And I would say probably in the past 3 years, I got recognized probably about 30 times, 30. And that to me is the coolest thing. Like, yeah, Dr. Phil and being on TV and that whole experience, like that was a once in a lifetime thing. But to know not only someone has watched you on a social media platform, but they've watched you enough to like recognize the face. Because, someone could see 1 or 2 videos of you and be like, they wouldn't recognize you in public probably. But when I get recognized in public and people are like, oh, you've talked about student loan debt, or is that you? But like, they know. Like, they've watched enough videos to be invested and know. Like, I never in my wildest dreams posting my first video 5 years ago on TikTok thought this would ever happen to me. And I always will think about that little kid who I was in high school who said, it'll never happen to you because there's nothing special about you. It'll always be the happiest time in my life. And I remember when they first were talking about the ban possibly happening, like 1.5 years ago, I started to shift in my mind and I started to say, you know what? If this all went away, I would look back on this time of my life and just smile and just know this was the happiest I ever have been in my life. I watched every single dream I had come true between, I used to tell myself when I lived in New York City and I just hated my life, I always used to say, if I'm not famous by the time I'm 25, it will never happen to me. Because I have a weird relationship with age and getting older. And I just felt like as a gay guy, like if I couldn't do it by the time I was 25, I would just be washed up old news and pushed to the side. And it's so crazy that I said that when I was like 23 or 24, and then 25 came and it never happened. 26 came and it never happened. And then 29 came, and that's when I posted my student loan story. And then last year I was 31 and was on the Dr. Phil show, getting interviewed, getting recognized in public pretty often. I mean, all my dreams came true through TikTok, through one app. All of my dreams came true. It just came from a random day where I downloaded it and I said, well, I'll give it a shot and let's see what happens. I guess as the saying goes, all good things come to an end. And this was a very good thing. And my heart is completely shattered. You guys are the best thing that came from this. I can't believe there's people who care about me. I was talking about this in my live. I think I went live last night or a couple nights ago, where I was saying, like, I think most of my life I never felt like I deserved to be loved. And I think that obviously developed from what I saw as a kid in the house I grew up in. And then, in relationships I ended up in where, the guy would leave me and I would just say, well, I guess it's confirmation. You just don't deserve to be loved. And I think that's another reason why I grew so bonded to you guys and I grew bonded to TikTok and just the platform, because I developed a support system and I developed a following of really caring and loving and wonderful people who just care about me. And you guys know I struggle with that because I've said in my first few episodes of this podcast, like, I struggle to just talk because I don't feel like you guys actually care about me as a person. You just care about the frugal piece and the money piece and learning about it. And I guess it's kind of sad when you realize it's too late, but like I'm really starting to see all the goodbye messages and people sending me messages saying how much I've impacted them and I've changed their life and this and that. And I really made a difference. I really made a difference. And I really helped people. And people really do care. And they say I'm that little voice in their head when they want to spend money. Like, I can't believe I did this. And, like I said before, the saying goes, like, don't cry that it's over, smile that it happened. And it's going to take me a long time to get there. I know I'm going to grieve this for a long time. This is not easy for me. I feel like I'm losing my life. I feel like I'm losing everything I ever wanted. I'm losing everything I dreamed of. And just moving to another platform isn't the answer. It's not going to be the same. TikTok was just it for hundreds of thousands of content creators. And I just think a lot of us, we're not going to get that again. We're not going to ever have that again. But eventually I'll remind myself, like, don't be sad that it's over. Just remember that it happened and be grateful it happened, because it was never guaranteed. This didn't have to happen to me. None of this had to happen to me, and it all did. And I'm that one in a million who decided to start posting content and built something. I'm surprised I did this without crying, because I feel like I'm on the verge of crying. And I feel like I've been on the verge all day, but surprisingly I haven't. But, well, I guess I wanted to say this too. It's like, I know you guys are probably like, oh my God, Bradley has more to say. I feel like this episode has got to be at least an hour. I feel like we've really been at this, but if anyone has watched to the end, can you put in the comment section, like, made it? Put it in the comment section, made it. So I'm like, oh my God, they actually like watched to the end. But I think what I love too, I was thinking about this on my drive home. I was like, even though there's not a lot of you here and we're much smaller than what's on TikTok, like, I feel like we're a very like tight knit family, because I don't know, I feel like YouTube is kind of niche, where I feel like more people lean towards Instagram. Like, way more people have been following me on my Instagram page than my YouTube. But just knowing there's like 5,000 of you here who migrated from TikTok. And I guess it says something that you want to listen to me for more than 2 minutes, like you were on TikTok. I don't know. I just feel very safe and comforted here. And I love your comments. I read all of them. I love to see that you're loving the podcast and that it helps. Sometimes I don't know if it's even fully over. And I'm the type of person, I do not get my hopes up. Fuck that. I'm always like prepared for the worst. I'm going to expect the worst. If the best happens, that's great. But like, something kind of just tells me it's not over, because once we have our new president on the 20th, there might be something he might be able to do, because it sounds like he's working with the CEO or creator of TikTok, whoever. I don't know. Like, something tells me it's not over, but I'm just prepared for it to be. I'm prepared for it to be over. So I don't know. I'm just in this weird place right now where it's like, do I give up and walk away, or do I hold on to it, keep going? I don't know, guys. But anyways, I just thank you for everything. I don't think anyone will ever know how special of a time in my life this was, and it made me happier than what people ever know. And I just think that's why it's going to be so hard for me, because I finally, for the first time in my life, I found happiness. And I felt like I found purpose, and I was making a difference. I was helping people. I was educating people. I was breaking the generational curse of how people viewed money or spent money or thought about money. I mean, I did it. And I cannot believe I was doing it. And just for anyone to love me and support me and care about me, that is the most special thing in the world. And I can't believe people do. And you guys do. I'm sad it's over, but I guess I'm glad that it happened. So, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Again, if you made it to the end of the video, put in the comment section, made it. Because I would really love to see if people actually kind of listened to the end or if you guys got bored of me eventually. But so the next episode that I post of the podcast will be more money related and whatnot. But I'm just really going through it, and this is a really tough time for me, even though that might be pathetic as a 32-year-old grown adult losing an app. But from what we just talked about for the past hour, you understand. So, and I guess I'll just give a warning too, again, if anyone's here, I might just need a breather, and maybe I'll post the next podcast episode in 2 weeks. I'm just like trying to, I don't know. This is just so tough for me, and I'm really heartbroken. I'm really crushed, and life goes on. I still have a ton of responsibilities and things I have to do, and all in the meanwhile, like, my life is crumbling behind the scenes. So if I try to post a podcast episode every week, like every 7 or 8 days, but if you don't see me for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, I'm probably just going through it, and I just need a little time. And even like I was saying, like, I kind of see if the TikTok ban happens, like I might just take, I don't even think, I don't know if I got to this point earlier, but like I might just want to take a little break, because I've been go nonstop for a year minimum. And I think I just need to grieve this. I need to process this. I need to take a breath. And anyways, I'll just shut up. You guys will see me soon, but I love you, and thanks.